The 2023 Great Lakes shipping season begins at midnight. The passageway from Lake Superior through the St. Mary's River to Lake Huron has been closed since January. But George, ice still covers some of these shipping lanes.
That's right. I also learned that the ice coverage this past winter was unusually low.
It's been a relatively light season for the Biscayne Bay. A 140-foot ice-breaking tug stationed in St. Ignace, one of 6 in its class on the Great Lakes.
We can go about 15 knots in open water. We're built a little more for torque than speed, so we can go through, rated capacity is usually about 3 feet of ice, but I've gone through over 6.
Its job is to make tracks in the ice, so the 1,000-foot freighters don't get stuck.
They can get stuck due to pressure on the ice. The ice isn't always fast to shore, so it's moving sometimes. And you get the wind blowing a piece of ice onto a laker and kind of pinching it between ice. You'll get what's called windrows or pressure ridges, which is kind of a tectonic plate movement of 2 plates of ice pushed together and then form a little mountain. And that mountain can be a big impediment to traffic.
Ice coverage on the Great Lakes this season was unusually low, peaking around 22% on February 4th and again around 20% on February 24th, well below the average of 44%. It has since dropped to less than 5%. Much of the remaining ice is concentrated in Whitefish Bay on Lake Superior, into the St. Mary's River and around the Straits of Mackinac. Ice cover on the Great Lakes is in a downward trend according to Climate Central because of warmer air and warmer water temperatures due to climate change. The ice season is also getting shorter, with lakes now tending to freeze over later and thaw out sooner. But on this bright February day, there was still plenty of ice in the straits.
You can definitely hear it. It makes a distinct racket throughout the ship.
Enough to briefly stall the momentum of this icebreaker.
A 140 can go through pretty easily 1 to 2 feet of plate ice stacked up without too much reduction in speed. And we can get through windrows or pressure ridges of, I've seen them in the 20-foot something range like that, because they function a lot like icebergs, where the bit you can see is 10 to 15% of it. It goes underwater a lot more. You crash into those, that's usually what gets us. We stop, we ride up onto the ice, and we just got to back down and get a running start to plow through it.
As the 2023 shipping season resumes, the Biscayne Bay will focus more on the Lake Superior side.
We'll see how Whitefish Bay is doing. That on the eastern end of Lake Superior, that's often requires a lot of work from us in the spring, as well as the St. Mary's River.
The lack of ice this winter contributed in part to higher lake effect snowfall. Grand Rapids reaching its 3rd highest seasonal total in history with nearly 110 inches versus an average of 78 inches. I'm Chief Meteorologist George Lessens for 13 on Your Side Weather.